Hey everyone, how's it going? Aiman Akhtar here from San Diego Comic-Con. I'm streaming live sculpting in ZBrush, so you're going to be seeing a bunch of stuff on screen, and anyone who walks by, say hi. Happy to come. I'll be here for about another hour or so. So I guess I'll start with a little intro of me, and then we'll jump into today's sculpt. I pull something up and double check that it works on screen.
It's working
on screen. Sweet. All right. So I'm a digital sculptor. I've been sculpting in ZBrush, I don't know, maybe like almost 10 years now, since 1.5, and I've been doing a lot of 3D printing. So large-scale sculpture, small-scale sculpture, stop-motion animation, costume stuff, freelancing all over the industry, really. But recently, what my wife and I have done is launched our own project, Fungisaurs. Dinosaur mushrooms. We did our own IP launch, we did a Kickstarter, prototyped our own toys, and put them out there. So we got it. We got the Kickstarter funded, we got a ton of toys, and now we actually got some funding to develop it as an animated series pitch and make our own augmented reality game. So that's kind of what I'm doing a lot of the time, spending is sculpting in ZBrush, getting these toys made, manufactured, doing the slicing, keying, articulation of it all, working with the factories to develop them, and now working on the game. So I like making these creatures. They're my own, thing. Dinosaur mushrooms, they're strange, but that's kind of like me, I'm strange. And today we're going to make a new one. So that's it for the intro. I can show a lot more stuff, and I'm on the Restream chat, so if anyone has any questions or wants to know more about anything specific, just shoot me a message on there, and I will answer as quickly as I can. Let me message on the chat again. Hey, this is Aiman, sup? Alright, cool. Looks like it's working. Alright, so let's get started with today's stream. I'm going to make one of these creatures, a new one, and let's pull up a new image for what I had in mind. So all of my creations usually start with a really shitty sketch. That's my corgi up at the top left. And what I thought of was doing is a spindle coral, which is a type of mushroom, a type of fungus, really narrow, really long, kind of looks like a bunch of strings coming out of the ground, and a Spinosaurus. Now, all of my Fungisaurus creatures are really cute. They're really baby creatures. So what I wanted to do is start with a cute baby version of it. So this is my sketch for a cute baby Spinosaurus with a spindle coral coming up out of the back. So today will be kind of a cutesy sketch. It's got that, it's kind of like I was thinking of Godzilla a lot when I was drawing this out. I wanted to think of like a baby kaiju, and this is what this creature is going to be. It's going to be really round, really cute, just little spikes coming up out of its back, and eventually it'll grow into this really vicious, mean Spinosaurus with like this really strange kind of fungus sticking out of its back. But to start off, this is what we'll be sculpting on today, so I wanted to show you on screen. And I'll have this pulled off on my menu off to the side, not menu, second monitor. And we're gonna start sculpting in ZBrush. So this is a brand new ZBrush. This is what it looks like when it opens. I've got a custom UI here based off of brushes and settings that I use really often. You can tweak the UI however you want, and under config you can store a config. You can load that UI, save a UI. Basically just enable customize, hold Control Alt and drag things around, save that UI, and there you go. Happy to be here at Comic-Con showing this stuff, and I'll show you kind of my process from start to finish. I'm going to start with a sphere, and I'm going to draw it on screen and click Make Polymesh 3D. That's going to turn it into its own new thing. Draw it on screen again, and edit mode, start bouncing around. If I turn on polyframe and zoom in, you can see the topology. But the topology really doesn't matter, because this is the really, really beginning stage. Red wax material isn't my favorite, so I'm going to switch to something else. Go with something like Skin Shade 4. Do a little bit of color on there. Maybe something, light. There we go. And this is generally how I start most of my models. Alright? On Restream, so if anyone wants to say anything, just say it on there. Alright, so let's get started. I've got my Cintiq, I've got my reference pulled off to the side, I've got a Wacom pen, and we're going to start going. So I've got all my hotkeys set up, I can start sculpting this however I want. Really, that's the great thing about ZBrush is you can do it really, really quickly. And I can create the shapes I want. So this is kind of like a baby kaiju. I can think, there's the leg, there's the leg, there's the body, there's the head. Start smoothing it out. I can go into Dynamesh and turn that on, and it's kind of like digital clay, so it changes the topology. So you can see how this mesh, this is all stretching right there. If I Dynamesh it, it's all unified, and so all that stretchiness goes away. It's like digital clay. And then I can sculpt it and move again. I can turn on symmetry, but I prefer not to for this kind of thing. And I'll show you a few different ways to get started. So this is one way. You can start with a sphere, start drawing, choose your different brushes. There's this inflate brush. I can create a head, Dynamesh that. You can bulge out little eyes. Even bulge in. Dynamesh that. Bulge out a little thing in the front, like a nose, big bulbousy nose. And anytime I feel like the geometry is starting to get too wonky, I can Dynamesh it again and turn it back into that clay. Same resolution, just start sculpting. And this is maybe like less than a minute and I've already got the start of my character. And so this is one way you can go about it. Start sculpting, 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 and then very quickly you have your shapes. But this is not my preferred method. So I'll show you another way, which is how I prefer to start sculpts, and this is more of a professional toy industry workflow. So this is great for concept sketching, and you can very quickly come up with ideas and follow through on those ideas. Like I can give them like kind of a sail along the back. Smooth it out, sail again, smooth it out. Pinch, move. And so very quickly you can start creating and thinking about appealing shapes. But this is not, like I said, a professional toy industry workflow. This is much more just concept sculpting, having fun.
Very cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. So for a professional toy industry workflow, you don't want to be so freeform. You want to be a little bit more decisive with your volumes, with your shapes, thinking about that appeal. And I learned this technique from Mike DeFeo, from Shane Olson, like some of my mentors in like the digital sculpting world. So I'll show you that. So this, instead of starting with just a sphere and sculpting away, go back to that sphere, that polymesh 3D sphere, right? And instead of like sculpting right from that one sphere, use a bunch of spheres. Think about just your volumes. Don't even focus on the sculpt. Think only about those volumes. So I'll use subtools and I'll just duplicate that sphere. And let's say this thing's the body. I'll start with the move tool. And I'll scale this up a little bit. Rotate that a little bit. And that's going to be my base body. That duplicated tool, I'll move that up. Keep one like in my subtool is just a hidden thing. Move that up, move it around, pull that up, and there's my head. And so in this way of sculpting, I'm just blocking in volumes, I'm keeping everything as separate subtools, and I can focus on my shapes, just the shapes, and then later start sculpting the details once I've created appealing volumes. So same thing, basically gonna go to that original one, duplicate it, move it down, go to the move it down, scale it, move it down. And I'm trying to think as I do this about volumes, not only for cute characters, but also for actual production. I'm going to print these things, so they have to be 3D printable. Say I want to mirror that over to the other side, I can go to my geometry, modify topology, mirror and weld. Let's see if this is the x-axis. So This is not the x-axis. Let's try the z-axis. It's not the z. And mirror and weld is not going to work because this is on the opposite side. So I'm going to go to Z plugin, Subtool Master, mirror, and try it over the x-axis there. There we go. And now the good thing about doing it that way, I've got it here in my subtool. And I can start naming these too. I'll call these ties. Let's call this one head. And ZBrush is really great about being able to keep things organized like that. But that's really on you. You got to make sure to keep things organized. You don't want like a Photoshop file that's a mess. You don't want a ZBrush file that's a mess. All right, move this stuff over. Let's start creating the tail. And so far, I'm just using, you know, the spheres as bases. It's fun to do this at Comic-Con. I wish I could show you what's going on the other side a little bit, because all these people in costumes are going by and it's hard to not get distracted. All right. So, thinking about those shapes and volumes still. Here's kind of the start of a tail. And I'll rotate it a bit. And let's switch to a different brush. Let's start doing some basic sculpting. I just open the brush tab, press SH, and that takes me to the snake hook brush. And then I can quickly get that tail off to the side. There we go. So very quickly we've got like a tail. Go into it, press geometry, Dynamesh, and there we go. Smooth that out, keeping everything nice and clean. And there I've got a tail now, so I can name that too. These thighs that I started with, these nice chunky round thighs, I'm just going to duplicate those, move them down, and those will be the start of my feet. So, actually the better thing to do is to make sure I have symmetry turned on. So I'll press X to turn symmetry on, or you can do that under Transform, Activate Symmetry. So you can see if I press X, it kind of turns it on and off. Because I want to make sure as I scale these, as I move these pieces, it's happening symmetrically. All right, how do I turn this base and flatten that bottom? I'm going to press Control Shift, and instead of the standard brush tool, I'll switch to Clip Curve.
That's what he's sculpting one now.
And I can clip the bottom. And there you go, now I've got to start a feet. So with these, ZBrush is really great about creating these basic shapes like this. And basic shapes is how you want to start. You don't want to start with complex, start with the basics. I'll take this, I'll duplicate it, move it forward, and that'll be the start of my snout. And there we go. Got a start of a snout. And so you can see how quickly I've been able to create all of just this cuteness of this creature just by the volume, you know? He's got like a platypus kind of nose right now. That's cool. I like that. Let's keep it like that. One thing I've noticed is a lot of my toys are really small, so I want to have them all looking up slightly. So that's what I'll do with this one. I'll have it turn and slightly looking up, because most of the time you'll be looking down at them. So you want to make sure your toys are looking up when you sculpt them slightly. Let's now make some arms and some eyes, and yeah, let's keep it going. Duplicate that, bring that down. That'll be the start of it, a little tiny arm. So this will be kind of a bicep. Duplicate that, move it up. Have that be like a deltoid. And I don't want him that buff, so let's make sure it's a manageable deltoid.
Do you want to ask him questions, girls? You can ask him questions.
Yeah, feel free. What's going on? How you enjoying the show?
I like it. It's more interesting than the other stuff.
It's really fun to sculpt. You know, did you ever play with Play-Doh? It's just like that, but digitally. So I can do it on a tablet.
Does it come out like clay?
Oh yeah, check this out. I'll show you a different model here.
We have a free version.
Wow.
You can like move things just like clay. You can like add, say if I wanted to add a horn, there's a horn.
Using our pro version.
Curve that horn. So this really is just like sculpting. in clay. Say I wanted to come in and like give him a little nose,
She's really good.
Whoa.
I can sculpt that right in.
Your art is her age. No.
Let's give him a smile. Creepy smile.
Yeah, then that's what we are. We're pretty much the digital sculpting application.
You can move things
So our
around.
core version, it's on film.
Let's get more of a Disney-esque thing. There you go.
Never charge for number of software. Comparing your method.
And so you can very quickly get the shapes you want. So this application is called ZBrush.
Wow.
Give him some eyebrows.
This version, the pro version, works on your
It's so satisfying.
but getting her in.
It's fun. Basically, that's really the goal. Because I'm trying to do this like, 5-6 hours a day. I want to have fun.
And then you have four. And the next they jump in.
What are the characters for?
These guys.
Because I actually help.
So it's my own
Yeah.
toy line. Fungisaurs, little dinosaur mushrooms.
You did that?
I did those.
Be surprised with
So
it.
all of those toys that you see were sculpted just
Yep.
like this
Not
and then
iOS.
3D printed out.
It's
So they're all 3D
only,
printed
Mac
out by
and
hand.
Windows. However,
And then
the new
I made, I went to a factory, mass produced them, so now I've got my own toy line.
work.
Alright, I'm gonna get back to this one and start doing like the base blocking. So I'll do the big base shapes and then I'll start sculpting details. Kind of like step 1, step 2, step 3.
Like $50. My daughter.
So I'll duplicate that,
3.5. She climbs on my lap.
move that around,
Sort of
get it there.
she saw me do it. Like she's not going to be able to do it.
And then I've got like the starts of a little forearm. And you don't need to use the transpose tool, you can always sculpt these pieces. You can split them off too. Split, unmask points. Okay. There we go.
Send them off.
And sculpt just the areas you want. This is actually how a lot of the things you see around here were sculpted. All these big statues, all that stuff, I've done those too. The big statues are sculpted just like this, digitally.
Really?
Yeah. They just have very, very big printers. All right, there we go. So now I've got like a little thing, but I don't want this gap here. I want all of this to kind of be up against the body because this will be printed really small. So I don't want it to break. So I'll take these pieces, throw them to the bottom.
And then we have 3 videos and everything. So she's like,
Oh, they're
it's actually
printed
one of her-
small like this.
Really small. They're like 3 inches tall. And I'll merge. And so now I've got all of these pieces, just that arm on its own. And I can move that whole arm. So I can pick the whole thing up, scale it, move it around. I can even sculpt the whole thing together. So I'll be here sculpting for another hour or so. If you come back in an hour, you can see what this finish up like. Yeah.
all the stuff.
There we go. Now no gap in the body. You're welcome. And I'll probably end up mirroring this arm over, so I'll try to keep it relatively small for now.
We have our own, and we have our own event also called the ZBrush Summit that we do there.
There we go.
It's free.
And it's all isn't just like rounds. Even in this, you can start thinking about where the big volume is, where the small volume is. And you don't need to duplicate the spheres either. You can insert them right where you want them. If you go to the brush palette and press I, you can see the IMM brushes. There's insert mesh brushes. And I want to find insert primitives and find an insert sphere. And I can draw it just where I want. There you go.
Yeah, I think he's making. Are you making a dinosaur?
Always making dinosaurs.
Want to see it? Are you on this screen? Can you see it? That's what he's making right there. See his little sketch right there?
This guy right here.
See it? That's what he's making.
Yeah, he's like a baby. Just like all of these. These are all of mine.
Yeah, he made all of those. That's pretty cool. He made all those characters all on the computer. It's pretty neat.
It's fun, right? It's like Play-Doh, but on a computer.
Yeah, pretty amazing, huh? Kind of like a model stapler.
There you go. There's that. There's that. And I'm thinking about the proportions as I go, and I'm thinking about appeal, I'm thinking about how this is going to
Right now
look.
we're live.
All of these things are important,
Now,
you know?
so people are watching around the world.
It's not, everything has to be decided, it's a choice. Now I'm gonna go to Z plugin, Subtool Master, Mirror, and now I've got a second arm. So that's the great thing about sculpting digitally is you can use symmetry, you can mirror things over. And then I can choose to just mask it and rotate that just one piece.
Really gets into it.
Get that arm in a different spot.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
How you doing?
Great. This is fascinating.
Yeah, this is the process of digital sculpting. All these giant statues that you see, all of my toys down here, they were all created using this digital sculpting method. So now I've got this character, and I can just keep adding pieces. So what I want to do now is add a little more pieces, start sculpting it a bit more. So there, if I want to give him some nose, nostrils, I can do that. I can decide where the eyes are going to be. They'll basically be right there. And I can start thinking about an eyebrow. Think about that nose shape. Smooth it out as I go. And so you can see, like, looking at it from like the top down, this is already going to be kind of cute. You know, it's kind of a cute creature. But let's keep going. Let's see.
You guys still got
I want to make that tail a bit longer, so I can just move it. Smooth it out. Look at it from a few different angles. If we're thinking about like an imaginary ground below
You want
it,
to sit when she's sitting.
I want to make sure it comes up a little bit. There we go.
maybe like 25 minutes away from it, so I'm starting to get tired. She wanted to see
Let's see. Let's make some really big eyes. So I'm going to start in a completely new scene here,
Yeah, we're Airbnb.
and I'm going to show you how I make eyes. I select.
By there.
ZBrush.
So you can see how this looks right now. This is kind of not enough geometry for me to do what I want to do. If I try to move it right now, it's going to not give me enough resolution. You can see how it starts to lose resolution. So what I can do instead is take it from 8,000 polys and divide it. I can go geometry, divide. And from 8,000 polys, now I've got 2 million polys. So now if I try the same thing, you can see that's much sharper. So what I'm going to do here now is pull that in, and now I've got it kind of like a concave shape in the middle there for the eye. I'll select just the inside of that. So I want that basically, that area right there. There we go, that area. Maybe a little smaller. There we go, like that. Switch to my mask, lasso tool, and only select that middle area. So I'm going to unselect everything else. Just like that, that's what I want. I'll invert that mask selection, and I will move it back out. So now I've got like an eye shape.
I want to get into it. It's like going to be
One time she was over like
So very, very quickly you can get like these complex shapes in ZBrush using things like masking. And I will dynamesh that piece. You can see it's not enough resolution, so I want to increase the resolution. I also want to freeze my subdivision levels. Little technical things you have to learn. It takes like maybe, I don't know, like a few months to get comfortable with this program. But if you give it time every day, it'll reward you. There we go. Once I get that, that should be done. Yep, that's looking good. A bit too high poly, so I can bring that down. So 4.5 million polys up at the top, it says. Bring that down to.
We put her in school.
That's 2 million polys. Keep going.
That process. She loves it.
There we go. So that's like less than 1 million polys, and I can sculpt it and move it around. That should be a good eye.
I'm just sorry,
So I'll create an insert mesh brush with that.
Time, but I've never paid enough attention to.
And now I'm ready to put the eyes onto my model.
It's awesome.
Because I've created an insert mesh brush.
Blown away by how quick
Zoom
you
in.
remember it.
So are you a sculptor or?
And there we
No,
go.
I'm more two-dimensional, but I'm
Bring that eye into
unrelated.
place.
I'm learning SolidWorks right now, and that's
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so I've got about 6 months into that right now.
And so that's a great way in ZBrush to just
Start doing what,
add
make
little
choice of
pieces. I
product?
can add an eye where I want.
It's more
Add it there too.
sort of industrial design kind of,
Move it in
kind of
place.
focus right now, but, yeah,
We are used with
And
that.
I'm thinking about what scale
We
I
are
want
used
these
to
eyes.
that
Do I want really
world.
big eyes? Do I want really small eyes?
Automotive companies.
And what I've learned is the bigger the eye, the cuter the creature. That's why babies all have these really big eyes, so we don't eat them.
Yeah.
to get up to speed on it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So everything's free.
Move that up a bit.
Even, we don't
And so you have to
charge
get
for
comfy thinking in 3D. You have to look around your model all the time.
Never charge for an upgrade. Really software companies never done that. We do have subscription as well, so we have multiple avenues to get in.
And so I'm basically bouncing around, thinking about it from all sorts of angles.
Probably about 500 videos. This guy right here.
Split unmask points to get it on its own layer.
This is the ZBrush guy. So people send us.
Do the same thing with this eye.
in video form.
Split unmask points. Get it on its own layer.
Doing right now, we're actually streaming live
Now,
right now to our channel.
I can sculpt just the head.
So that is always live.
And think
every
about that
single
shape
day.
again.
There's usually 2 or 3 artists.
Without
He's actually
bugging,
one of
without
our
messing with the eyes at all.
streamers that streams a lot with us as well. So there is a
So I'm
lot
liking the
of
bigger eye.
information
That's
that
definitely
we
what I'm
put
feeling.
out.
If you look at it from far away, that'll be a lot
Diving,
cuter.
gecko, turn learning, things like that.
I think I want to rotate it
Show right
so it's
now,
looking more in our
20% off
direction.
ZBrush. Or ZBrush Core too. So we have the light version of ZBrush Core, the red version of ZBrush. So you can take advantage of that.
Let's rotate it up too so it's looking slightly upward.
And then our subscription, these are our subscription prices. And then this is the sale price plus that. You would actually get it.
And I'll
today.
mirror that
You have
over.
it.
Since I like that eye, I'll just use that same one. So Z plugin, Subtool Master, and the mirror.
So with the perpetual.
There we go. There's the second eye. And I can toss this one.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Now I can continue sculpting the face.
Our 20th anniversary is this year.
That's amazing.
For 20 years. Like I bought ZBrush for like
So
$600.
it's cool to have the eye, but you want to make sure you have eyelids, you want to make sure you have everything else. So as I go, I'll be sculpting this for about an hour. If you come back, you can see like the finished creature too.
Stop that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, happy to answer any more questions too.
Well, what kind of computer are you running this on?
So Paul, you would know what kind of computer I'm running this on, but this is a Cintiq setup. Cintiq is a Wacom interface where you can draw directly on it, and you need a relatively powerful processor, but ZBrush can even run on most gaming laptops.
They need fairly powerful graphic cards and stuff like that.
You don't need it for the cute stuff I'm sculpting, but you see all the big sculptures around here, like the Batmans and the Spawn. As soon as you start getting really, really detailed, you need a more powerful computer.
You can't run off mid-level laptops.
Yeah.
They just sometimes when you rotate and move things around, they might be a little delayed. It
Yeah.
just varies on your
Your
it varies on
RAM, your
CPU
RAM.
over graphic.
Your memory will start running out eventually. But like the cute stuff I'm sculpting, it's relatively doable on your standard machines. Alright, there we go. That one up a little bit too. I want to save because I haven't saved the scene at all yet, and that's getting me freaked out. I'm going to save. Save it in artist files under my name. Let's call this Spino1. Because it's going to be a little Spinosaurus. A little cute baby Spinosaurus, but still. Spinosaurus. Let's duplicate the eye there. And we'll use that as the eyelid. So I'll move it up a little bit. And in solo mode, I can either clip, so you just clip away, and use that as the base for my eyelid. So let's do that. I'll dynamesh that. And some things I want to do with symmetry on, other things not so much. But just the way I did that, I'll do the same thing for the lower eyelids. So I'll solo that eye out, or duplicate it first, then solo it out. Come over to the side, use the clip brush, and just clip that away.
We've had a bunch of their artists jumping on here sculpting as well.
Dynamesh again.
Neon here. Next. Yeah, he's up here next.
Smooth that out. And we can pull it out a bit, or I can use deformation inflate. There we go. Now I've got lower eyelids. So if you make the lower eyelid too prominent, too big, character looks very tired. And you don't want that. You don't want it to be a tired character, but you want a hint of it, you know? Hint of anatomy helps, even with stylized characters. And I want to come in here with the pinch brush, just tighten that up. You want to create a nice sharp ledge. Just coming in here, tightening that up. And I want to dynamesh at a higher resolution too. There we go. The power of sculpting in software like ZBrush. You can just really have fun, like digital play. Hi there. Love your costumes. All right, cool. I'm liking that. It's starting to look cute. Let's add some more elements to this so we can play around with them. Like for example, I'm thinking he needs some teeth. So I'm going to duplicate this snout and create a bottom of his mouth.
Sorry, I had to buy something that was going to buckle in the back. We knew that.
Scale that down.
Well, isn't that fun? Is that a backpack you carry around?
It is.
And it's all glued, it doesn't fall apart?
Nope, those are my toys.
That's fun.
Yeah. I call them Fungisaurs, little dinosaur mushrooms.
Fungisaur, that's so fun. Where's the flyer? Oh,
Please
that's
do.
funny. That is adorable.
So now I've got a mount, and I can play with it. I can decide if he's going to be a little lopsided, and I like that. It makes him automatically cuter.
In Maya or what?
This is ZBrush.
ZBrush? Oh, ZBrush.
It's like a digital sculpting software.
Oh, cool.
So whereas Maya lets you do the full animation pipeline, you know, you can do model, texture, rig, lighting, animation. ZBrush is about focusing on modeling and getting that right.
Well, you do like hair, fur, and all that stuff yet on ZBrush?
They do have fur, yeah.
Okay.
It's not necessarily straightforward to import it to your rendering application.
Okay.
So it really depends what your final output is.
Can you work with Lightwave and import to ZBrush?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, Lightwave.
You can export the curves out of ZBrush for your fur, and then import them in Lightwave or Maya. Use those to generate fur in that software.
Oh, okay. Can I import, like, if I make a model in ZBrush and put it in Lightwave, I'm able to animate it and light it and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, that's
like
how generally I do it.
Okay.
ZBrush is kind of the industry standard pipeline for gaming, animation, toys, VFX even, for creating the sculpts, getting that high-res detail in there, and then you take them to another application to animate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What else do you use? You use Maya yourself? Or
I use
what?
Maya all the time.
Yeah. You like it?
I do. I can't live without it. I've been using it for, what, 18 years or something like that?
Yeah. Ever used Lightwave at all, or no?
That was before my time slightly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to
This
answer
is
more
the new
questions.
model, right? The new version of it?
This is the latest version of ZBrush, yeah.
How much is that going for?
I do not know, but Paul would know.
Oh, okay. Does it, you have to like add more stuff to it? Like every time something comes out,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to pay for it? Or
You
does
don't
it
pay
come...
for it. These guys are really great about giving you free upgrades.
Okay, okay. That's mine.
Really user-friendly. Maya's not.
Exactly. That's what I like.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, cheers.
That's the point. Every direction is like having no point at all.
Alright, so I like that lopsided mount. I'm going to save the scene again. Save as Spino 1. And now let's add some more elements. Let's get some teeth in there. So let's see what we're working with the insert mesh primitives. And before I keep going, let me check the restream chat. Alright.
That's even cooler. Sorry, that's true.
So, what all is going on in Restream? Restream land. We got a bunch of people saying hi. What's going on? We got Aquaman in here, indeed. Looks like Restream refreshed. I don't get to see any of the older chat stuff. We can ask Paul and see if he can bring that in. Alright. Wait on that. It refreshed it so I can't see the older chat stuff. Is there a way to see that? Okay.
If they didn't talk to you, tell them to read it.
Okay. Well, I can't see any of the older Restream chat stuff, guys, so if you want to message me again, I'll try to see it and answer it. Alright, so, got this cute little character that I've been sculpting in ZBrush. I want to add more elements and keep refining it. So, let's see. Insert mesh primitives. There's no cone, and I want a cone because I want to start with the teeth. So I'll go to my cone 3D there, make it a poly mesh, draw that out, and that'll be my start.
Can you badge?
So let's start just with the standard default cone. I'll say create insert mesh brush. So brush, and I'll add it to my eye there. Create insert mesh, append. Okay, and now I've got the eye and a cone. So going back to not that one. That's funny though. Let's go to the other one. There he is. Let's add some teeth in there. So with the cone selected, just kind of start drawing that on.
Estuve con él hace rato. Hi.
Hey, how's it going, man?
¿No? Para toda la vida, ZBrush.
There you go. Got my. I'm making one of the Fungisaur's pictures.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Thank you, man.
I don't know you have a stand here.
It's not my stand, it's these guys. I'm just offering my services.
No, but it's a Fungisaur.
So how quick was that? We've got a teeth in place now. I'm going to split that off. Split unmask points. Duplicate that. And make a new tooth. See you, dude. Cheers. There's another tooth.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I can move it around, sculpt it. So there we go. Got a couple of little cute teeth sticking out of the side. I could keep going, get all the way around, but that won't be as cute anymore. It'll be a bit scarier. So I think just the 2 teeth is fine. I might come in, make them slightly different, but we'll see.
That's what we're trying to find for her. She's running that niche where like she's good at I don't know this stuff, but
Go to the damn standard brush, create like a bit of a spine along the back. And that'll be where the top of my tail is. And smooth it out. Do the same thing on the back. And there's the top of my back. Hi there.
Hi.
How you doing? That's what I'm doing right now is I'm making one of these characters.
Awesome. Which one are you making?
It's a Fungisaur, a little dinosaur mushroom.
Great.
A new one.
Oh, different.
Yeah, so this is the concept if you want to look over on this screen.
Oh my god, he's cute.
Yeah, so my cute sketch and then now I'm going to turn him into that. He's like a baby Godzilla or something.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
With the underbite, he looks like your
It's a
boss's
side
dog.
underbite.
Oh yeah, it's all about that underbite. Might make that slightly bigger. Let's see.
Oh, he's handsome.
Thank you. Alright, there you go. I like that. So now
This is
that
what
it got,
underbites that are so damn cute.
they are right. I've got that one in the middle that's got the biggest one.
Yeah, he's all underbite.
Oh, he's all
my
underbite.
God.
That's a chanterelle mushroom and a T-Rex, so I call it C-Rex.
I'd say whoever's going to watch you live.
Alright, cool. So I like what's going on there. I may want to move one of these arms around. Bring it more forward. Let's see. There we go. Rotate that down a bit. There we go. A lot cuter now.
His arms are little mushrooms.
Yeah.
He's all little mushrooms. He's all a little mushroom dinosaur.
His little mushroom.
But we could go in and detail those arms a little bit too. Let's add some claws. There we go. One there, one there. Cut that middle. Just like that. Do the same thing on the other end. Cut that.
That would take me like 8,000 hours.
Once you get the hang of it, and ZBrush takes a few months to really learn by spending time on it, it's really fast. It's the fastest software that I've used.
That's awesome. How did you learn? Were you like self-taught? Did you have mentors? Did you do programs?
I took classes. I took classes with a lot of people that taught from like Blue Sky Entertainment and like other animation studios, and that's kind of what gave me my knowledge to use the program. And then it's just practice.
Awesome. Did
Yeah.
you start like practically? Like how did you start sculpting?
I started with clay originally, and I think we all started with Play-Doh.
I think so.
Yeah, so this is digital Play-Doh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that perspective.
In the industry, we have this saying, 10,000 hours, and that's how long it takes to learn a new skill
Yeah.
and become a master of it. So you just keep throwing time at something, you're gonna be great.
That's right. So cute. So cute.
So now, I wanna add like mushrooms coming out of his back without making it creepy. So that's the challenge. I'm walking that creepy cute line.
Or make it
Or
creepy.
make it creepy.
Extra creepy. So I'm gonna go with
Cute
this
in the
brush
front,
here.
creepy in the back. It's like
Curve
a different color
tube.
mullet.
And let's draw it. That's too big. So let's make it a bit smaller. Still a bit big. Let's do that. There we go. I like that. And now I've got to start. So there we go. So that's what I want to do. I want to do a bunch of those. So I'll do that again. Curve tube. You press C. C curve. And then curve tubes. Ready to go. There it is. Curve tube. And I'll just draw a bunch of them right now first. Gotta make sure my brush is relatively small. There you go. So basically I'm just giving myself elements to work with.
Yeah.
And once I have those elements in place, I can go back in and sculpt them. Let's give them a little mohawk too. There we go. And now I'm good to start sculpting again. That's the great thing about ZBrush is you can really like sculpt immediately. I'm gonna mask off and sculpt only the areas I want to sculpt though. I don't want to sculpt everything. Make that one kind of small. Like a little haircut. There we go.
It's supposed to sculpt and then straight up the printer.
All right. So curved tubes is really powerful for something like this. Just giving you the base. And thinking about production, this might get tough because it's very hard to injection mold something like this. But I can just, you know, while I'm in the concept phase, I can enjoy myself, think about the character, how I want it, and then later I can worry about getting it ready for production. Using the move to topological tool, and that way, even if multiple meshes are on this same piece, I can sculpt only the parts that my brush lands on.
They're going to be at the summit.
There we go.
The price level is supposed to come. Yeah. Here's how you go about it.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm sculpting one of those little toys right now, like a new one. Fungisaurs, little dinosaur mushrooms.
Are you going to print it out?
Yep. These were all printed out and then made into like mass-produced toys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Where do you print it out at?
I use a printer at home. I have this one called Form 2 3D printer. It's a stereolithography resin printer. So it's liquid resin, and wherever laser hits it, it kind of solidifies it. And so layer by layer by layer by layer, it kind of emerges from the resin. Kind of like the Terminator movies.
What's the material? Is it like
It's a liquid resin, like a chemical resin, and you can use different types of materials. There's materials that are flexible, there's materials that are tough, so you can drop them, they won't break. There's clear materials so you can see through them. So that's really the power of resin.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, my daughter choose here. Wow, thank you.
I'm going to split off all those spikes onto their own layer, split unmasked points. And let's organize our scene again. It's been a while. So I'm going to rename this Spikes. Save it. Spinal 1 again.
And then this part why I wanted a kid.
How's it going, mate?
I even have space for that. That thing's wicked. I like the arm.
I do too. I'm spoiled by the Cintiqs.
Yeah.
Alright. Dividing the spikes, getting them slightly higher resolution. So these won't just be spikes, they're going to be turned into spindle coral. That's a different type of mushroom. That's my whole thing, little dinosaur mushrooms. And fungi are fascinating. The more I research them, the more I learn. Getting the tail and then just trying to change the sculpt, kind of have it continuing off of the body. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's funny.
So thinking about production, having this many spikes all over the place, it's going to be impossible to print at all. And while it's a baby, I can think of the spikes actually being little babies too, so they can be relatively small and be merged together. So let's see if I can do that. I'm going to go to Move Topologize and keep them kind of together. That way it's much more possible to print them. And it'll look more like a Spinosaurus. Hello, how you doing?
How are you?
Doing well.
Wow.
I'm showing a digital sculpting application. It's called ZBrush. And I'm making one of my like baby dinosaur mushrooms. Those are my toys right there. And this is how I made all of them. I sculpted all of them digitally and 3D printed them out.
Wow.
Is it okay if I take pictures?
Please, go ahead.
It was actually funny. Like I'm like, and then he's like, never just here again today. Like, you know, like, just have a kid. Telling you what to do.
I'll go back to the IMM primitives here. Let's see. Wrong one. I want to pick that one. Draw some more spheres there. Give myself some material. And draw it in.
Wow.
It's a really powerful tool and lets you think. You know, lets you create at the speed of your thoughts.
Now, is it dual platform or is it only on Mac or PC?
It's on both.
On both.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have any questions about the software, Paul or any of the ZBrush guys can help you answer
Okay.
too.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
All right, I'm going to give him some feet.
How long have you been working on this application?
Which application? Oh, this? I think I've been using it for like almost 10 years. Yeah. It's been a while. But it takes a good month to really get familiar with it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course. Enjoy the rest of the show. Just inflating these. Dynameshing. And then I can clip again. Clipping will basically clip the bottom. I may also want to bring that tail down and clip all of that as well. How's it going, guys?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing a sculpting demo for an sculpting application. Yeah, ZBrush. It's kind of like Play-Doh, but digital.
That's sick.
Thank you.
How long does it normally take you for like that size of a model to develop it?
Well, this I started in the demo, so it's like 20 minutes maybe now?
Nice.
Yeah.
And you start from
So it's
basically
from that
nothing.
reference?
Start from a sphere. Yeah, this is my reference.
Nice.
So I'm starting from a little simple sketch and then turning, you know, making the creature. It's one of my toys right here.
Oh, that's
Little
awesome.
fungisaurs, little dinosaur mushrooms.
Nice.
So then can you take it from this program and create
You can take it into animation. You can take it into make a 3D print and make a toy.
Yeah.
You can make a game with it. So ZBrush is the first step. It's just the getting the idea out and taking it from a drawing into a sculpt. And from 2D to 3D, once you have the sculpt, then you can decide the output.
Cool. Can you do it in different planes? I'm assuming when you start.
Oh yeah, you can do it like orthographically, like where left, front, back, kind of top.
Oh, cool.
Sweet. Or you could try to sculpt just like I do in perspective. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm almost done. I'm gonna try to get the last of the spikes on his back and then do a quick color pass, and then wrap this up in the next 5 minutes.
Awesome.
You get one of your numbers real quick? Yeah. I'm gonna go up and see where I grab that down over here.
Make a bunch of spheres for the back here,
701.
and then sculpt those into the shapes.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Maybe bring them up a little bit. There you go. Go to move topological.
375 2716.
This goes in.
I'll give you guys a call and all right.
And you can see how quickly you can do this. You can really do it at the speed of your thought. Because ultimately the computer is a tool. You want it to be a tool and just let you do your thing, not get in your way. And a lot of applications tend to slow you down a lot.
Yeah. How much like processing power does this app take?
I think pretty good processing power, comparable to any like gaming PC.
Okay.
But that's really your only bottleneck is memory.
Right.
However, ZBrush runs on pretty standard machines now. Yeah. All Alright, so there we go. Got a bunch of spikes in the back. I might inflate those. There we go. Let's start doing some coloring and painting. So I'm gonna go and Z plugin, Subtool Master. I can fill color and material. So let's say I want this creature to be slightly bluish or purplish. I'll go Z plugin, Subtool Master, fill, color and material. And now it'll do it over all the models. And then I can come in and be more specific. Like say for the eyes, let's make those white. So I can do color, fill object, there. Even paint. So say if I want to go black right over here, turn on RGB, start painting that in. Ryan? That's awesome. Yeah. What color should I make his eyes?
Yellow.
Yellow it is. Alright. Give him some iris color.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can be a hell of a lot more precise, but I'm just kind of winging it for the demo.
Oh yeah.
Having some fun with it. Purple and yellow are good. They're complementary. You guys know some basic color theory. It's good. Let's give them some dark, so we'll give them some oranges around the sides, maybe the tops. And bring in some whites, lights up at the bottom. Some highlight up there too. A lot cuter that way. So there we go. Off to a good start.
Yeah, that's really good.
You can paint these white as well, the teeth. And I like the yellow, I want to bring that back. So I'll pick that color and start adding it into the spikes and spines a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yellows
Basically,
and
when you
oranges.
create different spheres and different parts, it separates it into like.
Yep, you can see in the
layers.
subtool menu, these are all the different meshes. So they're all separate tools.
Awesome.
These spikes aren't part of it. Let's see why not. They're part of the body. So what I can do is split that off. So I'll split hidden. Select that, bring it down. Select those spikes, bring them down. Merge them together. So you can merge layers up and down just like Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
There we go. Cool.
Lifetime. ZBrush has been around, right?
It's been around for a while now, yeah.
Yeah.
I've started using it first a while back. Sweet. All right, 1 minute, so I got to start wrapping it up, guys.
All right.
Thank you for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome.
Cheers. As well as everyone watching online, thank you for watching me do what I do. Make some cute things. Join me next Thursday for ZBrush Live again, and I will show you some more cool stuff, and I'm going to try to launch some articulation brush stuff. So if you're interested in articulation and toys, watch my ZBrush stream next week on Thursday, and then we'll get it done. All right, if you want to follow me, Aiman3D.com. Thanks all. Aiman Akhtar 3D on Instagram and Aiman3D.com.
That's pretty much looking at
Cheers.